This is Professor Urbis-White. Today we'll learn how to factor trinomials with the leading coefficient not equal 1. So let's get started. I'll show you a couple of methods, and just feel free to use whichever method you would like. The first one is the trial and error method. That one is labor intensive, but once you do a lot of them, and you will see that there is a pattern, and then you'll get faster at them. So this is how it works. Here's your trinomial, ax squared plus bx plus c, and this a is not 1. Okay, now you try to see some pattern, there's nothing in there, so this is what you do. 2, look at your leading coefficient and kind of break it down, factors of 1 and 2, and now look at your constant and just think of any other factors that go into here, 1, 15, 3, and 5. Now then you sit down and you're going to start try and error. So in other words, you're going to take one of these guys and then kind of couple it up with one of the couples. Okay, let's try that. I will do x and 2x. That will give me 1 and 2. And I will do 1 and 15. The quickest way to try is just go the inner, that's 2x, then go the outer, that is 15x, and add them up, that will give me 17x. And this is 13x. That's not the one. So I have a feeling that this 115 may be too big. They are too far away. Let's try 3 and 5. So 2 and 1. Let's try the middle term. 3 times 1, that's 3. 2 times 5, that's 10. 10 plus 3 is 13. And guess what? That is the one, and I'm done. So I just hit it in the second trial. You may hit it in the third and the fourth, but the more you do, the faster you'll hit it. Let's do another one. 3x squared plus 20x plus 12. That one has a lot more choices. The 3 is 1 and 3. That's pretty obvious. This one can be 1, 12, 2, 6, 3, 4. I don't know which one I'm going to do. So I'm going to do 1 and 3. Let's try x and 3x. And let's try, 3 and 4. Okay, I started with this couple. So let's try the middle term. 3 times 3, that's 9. 4 times x, that's 4. Add them up, 4 plus 9, 13x. That's a little too small. In other words, these two are too close to each other. So let's make them a little bit further away. Let's try this one. 2 and 6. Then I'll try these guys. 3 and 1. Let's try the middle term. Middle term is again 2 times 1, 2x. 3 times 6, that's 18x. 18 plus 2, 20x. Bingo! That is the one. So this is how it factors out. You see that I'm only checking the middle term because I know that 3x times x, that's 3x squared. That is a given. And the last one is 2 times 6, that's 12. That's also a given. The only one that I'm just playing with is this middle one that is going to be this times this plus this times that. Inside, outside. This is always the case. And I hit it on the second trial. What happens when I have like a negatives? Then I have to start paying attention to the negatives. So let's do that. This is going to be 1 and 5. This can be 1, negative 6, negative 1, 6, 2, negative 3, negative 2, 3. Well, I don't know which one it is, so I try them out. So let's take this one with, let's say, this one. Just pick one. All right. I go, okay, x plus, I'll do this in a second. So x and 5x. So this is going to be 2 plus 2 and negative 3. So let's try the middle term. 2 times 5, that's 10x. Pay attention to the signs now. Negative 3 times x is negative 3x. Add them up. You're going to get a positive 7x. Don't say, oh, you know, I got a 7, I'm done. You have to pay attention. This is a positive 7. Then switch the signs around. Instead of negative, put a positive. Let's try that. All right. Now I'm going to try the middle term one more time. This one is negative 10x. This one is positive 3x. And guess what? When I add, I get negative 7x. This is the one, not that one. All right? So you have to pay attention to the signs when you do this trial and error. Let's see some patterns in here. So I'll do a slow FOIL, and then I'll do a fast FOIL in a second. So slow FOIL, here you go. 2 times 3, 6x squared. That's F, first with first. O is outer. This is inner. And this is last. Okay? And I did that in the polynomial video, but I'll just review it. 2 times 3, that's 6x squared. The outer 2x times 1, that's 2x. This one is 1 times 3x, that's 3x. And the last one is 1 times 1, that's 1. And this always turns out to be additive. 6x squared plus 3 plus 2, that's 5, plus 1. And guess what? When you had a positive positive, you ended up with positive positive. All right? How about negative negative? Let's try that again. Now this time I'll do the fast FOIL. In other words, I know the first one is this one. I know the last one is that one. And negative negative, that's positive. What will be the middle one? And that's going to be the inner and the outer. What is the inner? That's negative 3x. The outer, what is that? Negative 2x. You add them up, you have a negative 5x. So look what happened. When I did that, positive positive, I ended up with 2 positives. And a negative negative, that ended up positive, but that one ended up negative. So when you develop some kind of feeling for these, then you can actually guess the factors a little better. Let's do a negative positive this way. First term, that's 6x squared. Last term, that's negative 1. What's the middle term? That's the inner, which is negative 3x. And then the outer, that's 2x. When you add them up, you'll get negative 3 plus 2. That's negative 1. Oh, look what happened. That one is going to be both negative. All right. Well, let's do this one. Positive, negative that way. What is the first term? What's the last term? Okay, what's the middle term? The inner and then the outer. Now, in this case, 3 minus 2, that ended up positive. Okay, so let's review. When it was both positive in the factors, I always ended up with positive in here. And then when it was both positive, this term also ended up positive. When I had both negative, what happened? The last one all turned out positive, but then the middle one turned out negative. When it's positive negative that way, this one turned out negative, and the middle term, depending upon these numbers, turned out either positive or negative. So you can actually use this when you're factoring. Okay, now I'm going to do grouping, and I'll show you how grouping is done. It's a pretty simple method, and it's beautifully done. This is how you do it. You look at your leading coefficient, and you look at your constant. You multiply them out. 2 times 15. That's 30. Now, you think of two numbers. When you multiply, it needs to give you 30. When you add, it needs to give you that middle term's coefficient. What are these? So let's try, when I multiply, I get 30. So let's try 5 and 6. But 5 plus 6 is 11. That's not the one. What's another one? When I multiply 30, what do I get? It can be 10 and 3. Guess what? 10 plus 3 is 13. That's the one. This is what you do. So you go back to your problem. You write 2x squared. You write 15. Then you split the middle term this way, 10 and 3 way. Then you group these two, and you group these two. You tackle them separately first. What comes out of 2x plus 10x? 2x comes out. You'll have x plus 5. Then you close this, and you look at this one alone. What comes out of 3x plus 15? 3. And what's between this rectangle and that rectangle? A plus. Now remember the distributive property. Distributive property is AB plus AC. If it's repeating, you pull it out and factor. Now watch, this is repeating. That means I pull it out. And what do I have left? B plus C, which is 2x plus 3. Beautifully done. You can FOIL back and check. Let's do that. The first two terms is 2x squared. Last one is 3 times 5, 15. And what's the middle? 10 plus 3, which is 13x. Check. All right? So this is called factoring using grouping. We'll do a couple more. How about 3x squared plus 20x plus 12? Let's do that. We start with the same way. 3 and 12. Multiply them out. 36. I'm looking for two numbers that multiply into 36, and then when you add, you get 20. Let's try a couple things. 6 and 6. That's 36, but 6 plus 6 is not 20. That's not the one. Which is the one then? Let's think about that. Let's try 2 and 18. 2 times 18 is 36. 18 plus 2, that's 20. That's the one. So what am I going to do? I'm going to take the first and last one, and do not touch those. But I'm going to split the middle one this way. 2x plus 18x. Then I put my little rectangles around it and factor out what's common. In this case, it's 3x. All right, what do I have? I have an x. Oh, what did I do? Let's do it. In this case, it's x, because that's the only thing that comes out. And I'm going to have a 3x plus 2. And I go do the same thing, close this one out. What comes out of 18x plus 12? Let's take the 6 out. What do I have? 3x plus 2. Then you look at the whole thing. Watch. This 3x plus 2 is repeating. Distributive property, take it out. What do you have left? You're going to have x plus 6 left. Beautifully done. Now you may ask yourself, okay, well, what happens if I don't write it like this, but I put the 18 here and 2 here? Watch. 3x squared, 12. Now instead of doing 218, I'll do 18 2. What do you think is going to happen? You tackle it the same way. Two different triangles. Rectangles. What do I take out from here? This time I'm going to take the 3x out. What do you have left? You're going to have an x here and 6 here. You close this, do the same thing. What comes out of here? 2. You'll have an x here and a 6 here. Now look at the whole problem. What's repeating? X plus 6, x plus 6. Take that out. And what do I have left? I'm going to have 3x plus 2. And guess what? These two are the same. Commutative property tells me that I can write them in any which order I want. How about we do something with the negatives? All right? It's not very hard, but I need to pay attention to my signs. 5 and negative 6. Multiply them out, you'll get negative 30. Now, what do? How does negative 30 split? I'll just go and hit it. Negative 10 and positive 3. Negative 10, positive 3 is going to be negative 7. So I go write 5x squared and 6. In the middle term, I'm going to write negative 10x plus 3x. All right. Then I go and I do my rectangles. Here they are. What comes out of here is 5x. And you're going to have an x minus 2. What comes out of here is 3, x minus 2. Guess what? These two are the same. Pull them out. Then you're going to have what's left over, which is 5x plus 3. Okay? So negatives, I have to pay attention. Harder cases. How do I do this one? I just kind of look at the numbers first. 3 times 6 is 18. Okay, I'm looking for two numbers that when they are multiplied, it gives me 18, and when they're added, it gives me 19. That's obvious, 1 and 18. Now, look how you do it. You go, okay, 6a squared, you don't touch that one, and 3b squared, you don't touch that one. But the middle term, you're going to write, this one is ab, 1ab, plus 18ab. Do you see it? All right. I'm going to put my rectangles around, and let's take these out. What comes out of 6a squared plus ab? So a comes out. I have a 6a plus b. Do you see that? Then I do the same thing. What comes out of here? A b will come out, and a 3 will come out. Do you see that? What do I have left? And a 6a plus 3b came out, a b. And guess what? These two are the same. Pull it out. 6a plus b. What do you have left? You have left what's left over, a plus 3b. You see it? Okay, so you can have really harder cases, but they are all done the same way. Okay? All right.